So, there's a lot to talk about right now. So for those of you who have been following the progress of Direct Contact, we have some interesting things going on right now. And what's funny is originally this was supposed to just be a gameplay video showing the current state of the game. It was supposed to be me and Rad playing some missions, having a good time, seeing what's new, and enjoying Direct Contact as we have been enjoying it the last few times we played it. The problem with that is that we have been enjoying it knowing that it's in a pre-alpha state, very much work in progress. So we were willing to accept some of the bugs and glitches that we dealt with because we believed in the potential of Direct Contact. So what is happening? Well, Direct Contact actually released to early access yesterday as of this recording, so February 29th. And in that short time since it's been released, it is receiving a lot of negative reviews on Steam. The Discord is just a wildfire right now of people. You kind of have three sides as far as I can see. You have the people that are defending the game. You have the people that are just attacking the game with, less than constructive feedback. Just saying, this sucks, or this is dumb, or you suck, kind of thing, like personal attacks, just not really effective feedback for the actual game, just kind of getting angry. That does happen with new products and things that they don't like, or things that are in kind of rough shape when they launch. And then you have the people somewhere in the middle where they're trying to, defend the game, but also recognize that there are a lot of things that need to be changed, a lot of things that aren't living up to the expectation that they had for an early access release. So you have this interesting mix of people with different opinions, some more vocal than others, obviously, and it's just been kind of crazy. So let me tell you where I fit into all of this. So me and Rad literally last night got on to record some footage of Direct Contact, and within, I think, 20-30 minutes, we gave up and we went and recorded something else that we had already planned. The reason for that is that in those 20-30 minutes, we were trying to get into a mission to play a mission together, and we had a really hard time navigating the menus. We kept getting different menus stuck on our screen. Let's go to Operation Nordic Fjord. Oh.
Are these actual lights?
Hold on, my game's freaking.
Oh my god! Look at how far I go up on
My
these
game's
lights.
freaking out. Oh no, my menu's open, but I'm controlling my character. I can't get out of the menu. I can't even launch it. I can't launch it because I'm in my menu's up, but I can't freaking change anything. We kept getting different bugs and issues that prevented us from continuing, and the only way we would have realistically been able to play a mission is if we just used like default setup, default everything, and we didn't want to do that because we wanted to customize our character, we wanted to customize our guns, things like that, and we were just having a really hard time. So instead of this being a gameplay video, it's going to be just a little commentary from yours truly about some of my thoughts about the current state of the game, about some of the controversy that's happening right now. I'm going to be, obviously, as I hope you know, I'm not going to just rail on them and attack them. That's not who I am, and that's not what I intend to do, because truthfully, the developers of Direct Contact have been super kind to me, super responsive. They've even given me some Steam keys for people to play and to do a giveaway, which I'm actually doing right now, ironically. So they've been super gracious to me. They've been awesome to talk to and everything, and I know that they do have a lot of passion for the game that they're trying to make. I just think that there's some pretty big missteps that have occurred that have ultimately led to where they are now. There are some things that I do have insight on just based on what I'm currently studying and the current profession that I work in right now. So I will give some of my thoughts, and we'll talk about it. So let's go back a little bit. So Direct Contact originally was supposed to release to early access on like December 13th of last year. I made a video about it. I made a video all planned around releasing to early access. It got pushed back. A lot of people were supportive of that decision, including myself, because the game was definitely not in a state where I felt like it was ready to be released just to anyone, and for people to criticize it and have their feedback like they are right now. So the developers came out with a message saying, we don't feel right about releasing it to early access at the current version, but we're going to make some changes, make some improvements in the next few months, and hopefully be ready early in 2024. Well, that time is now here, and there's just one major problem. And the biggest problem of all is that within the few months that they pushed back early access release, I don't feel like much of anything has changed. And granted, I'm sure there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I've been watching the Discord. We have a Discord channel showing all the updates, things like that. I've been keeping an eye on that, and I know they've made some like back end upgrades and stuff like that. But ultimately, as far as like the core gameplay goes and the core features of the game, everything feels pretty much the same as it did a few months ago, which I'm sorry, but that's a major problem, because when you set an expectation for people that we're pushing this back to make major improvements, to make sure it's in a state that's ready to be played, and then release it in pretty much the same version with a few different like The only things that I could really notice right off the bat that were different were the images, like some of the loading screen images and like icons and stuff like that, which has no direct impact on the gameplay. You know, some features we even removed, like we can't, you know, prone was removed. So it's just, yeah, it's just right off the bat, that's like the number one thing, where you load up the game expecting a different experience from a few months ago, and it's pretty much the same. So I'd say that's one of the biggest problems and probably the biggest frustrations of the people that are giving it negative reviews, is that nothing has really changed in the last few months. And before we go any further, I mean, we'll preface, obviously this is an independent studio. I don't know exactly how big the development team is. I don't know if it's just one person or if it's only a few people, you know, so obviously you have to take that into consideration. But I think the biggest lesson learned here is about managing expectations. So just keep that in mind. I'm not going to sit here and just rail on the developers, because obviously they're not, you know, a big AAA studio, which, you know, that's a whole different conversation. So I currently work in quality assurance. So a bulk of my job is testing, making sure things are working properly. Whenever a change is made to a feature or to a certain aspect of a software tool, whatever it may be that I'm working on, whenever a change is made, my job, a bulk of my job, is to make sure that it works, for one, and that two, that everything around it that it's integrating with also works, and to assess how much risk is involved, how much does this have a risk of breaking something else in the future, and should we change this depending on those facts. And then on top of that, what I'm currently studying, I'm set to graduate in the fall of this year, which will be awesome. But I'm currently studying interaction design and user experience, specifically in like digital aspects, but obviously in any aspect. So literally all I'm studying is about how people interact with products. What experiences do they have? Are they positive, negative? Why are they positive or negative? How can they be improved? Interaction design. So how are digital products designed so that people get the most out of their experience? That kind of thing. And, you know, I don't want to be too harsh. I really don't. But honestly, it's a nightmare right now. Which doesn't mean it can't improve, but as of right now, it's a nightmare, where just the navigation of the menus is not intuitive, it's not user friendly, it's not, you know, you look at it and you have no idea where to go. I know in Discord they've had to post like instructions on how to get into the game, which, I mean, that's like, it makes my skin crawl, because your first red flag should be that if you have to post an instruction video or an instruction article or whatever steps, if you have to post instruction steps just to get into the game, we have a major problem. So my big gripe, you know, just with where I'm kind of focused, where my mind is at, is a lot of the navigation aspects, you know, navigating the menus, the customization menus, things like that. They're in really rough shape, and they're not super intuitive. Obviously, once you get into them, you can kind of figure your way around it, but you don't want someone to come in and have to just hack their way through something. You know, we have loading screens that are, I don't know why we're not just using screenshots of the actual game as loading screen placeholders. You know, if people want to see actual, you know, screenshots and actual images of what the game looks like, why are we not using that for a loading screen? Why are we not using that for, you know, icons for the different factions, stuff like that? I totally understand, you know, I design a lot of website interfaces and app interfaces, stuff like that. I understand placeholders and I get what you're going for, but why are we using, you know, AI art images as loading screens and as icons when they are completely different from the look and feel of the actual game, the aesthetic of the game? Everything is completely different, where now you suddenly have a, you know, comic book style looking icon, which just completely distracts you from this, you know, hardcore realism milsim game that it's supposed to be. So anyway, that might be a little nitpicky, but it's distracting to me. And maybe that's just me, but when I load into the game and I see these, you know, obvious, like, AI art has been impressive, and I think it's, you know, come a long way. It's still in a state where we look at something and you immediately are like, that's AI. I can immediately tell, which AI is a great tool. Don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of good ways to utilize it, but honestly, I don't think that in a game where we're trying to show realism, show, you know, kind of the grittiness of the game itself and get people immersed, you know, throwing an AI art image at them, I think is a good way to just break that immersion immediately. So I don't know. I mean, maybe some of the developers of Direct Contact will see this video. Yeah, I hope you do, and I hope you accept my feedback. I'm not trying to just tear you apart, and I feel like I'll probably be a little more gracious than a lot of people in Discord and on Steam reviews, because I know that they can just be brutal. Let me turn this around to some of the positives and what I think they can do going forward. So obviously, what sucks is I've posted 2 videos in Direct Contact on my YouTube channel, and they've been, you know, some of the higher performing ones, because a lot of people were very interested in the game. I posted a TikTok in Direct Contact, and it had over 1 million views, which I only have a handful of TikToks that are over 1 million, and that's one of them. So obviously people are interested. and people are intrigued by the concept. So I really think they have a good idea. I think the whole air support and calling, being able to, play as a JTAC operator, call in air support, I think that's a super great feature. I just think we need to take a lot of time to iron out the details, a lot of time to polish things up, and don't feel rushed. At least in my opinion, it's one of the biggest problems in the gaming industry right now with games being released is that they feel the need to rush. It's like, we have to get this game out. We have to go right now. You send out an unfinished product and then people grill you for sending out an unfinished product. The feedback may be rough, but that's kind of what you had coming when you release something that isn't finished. I think about games like, and obviously, again, keep in mind different studio sizes, different, budgets, all that stuff. But think about Ready or Not. Think about 0 Hour. Games that have been in early access for a while. Ready or Not just released their 1.0 version a little bit ago. But you think about these games that were in early access for a long time, but still had super solid versions of their game. Like Ready or Not was really good for a long time before having their 1.0 release. 0 Hour is a little bit rougher than Ready or Not in my opinion, but it's still a really good experience. Really, has a lot of detail, has a lot of good features in it. So ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is that you shouldn't give up. Obviously, you shouldn't just abandon project. I don't think that's on their mind, but you never know. But take the feedback, even if it's hard. Take the feedback that you need and apply it, and all the stuff that's just noise, all the stuff that's just, not effective, not really related to the actual game, and throw it out and just move on. So as of right now, I think that's all I got. I just wanted to jump on. I'm bummed because me and Rad were actually looking forward to making another direct contact video showing off some of the gameplay, but in its current state, we couldn't even really get it going. So I hope to see some changes in the future. I hope that they can kind of weather the storm and make some improvements. I think there's a lot of games that are kind of going through this trend of releasing to early access and kind of just banking on the fact that they'll just make changes as they go. And while that can work, you need to really have a solid version of the game before you can release it and then start iterating from there. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'll try to keep an eye on things and keep you updated if you're interested. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Obviously, please be gracious. There's no need to, personally attack anyone or just be super vulgar or super rough about it. Not all of us make every right step. So, but a huge thank you to the devs for being gracious to me throughout the process of covering the game, making YouTube videos and things like that. I do believe that the game can be a success. It's just going to take a lot of work, a lot of introspection, I guess, and just kind of moving on from here. So with that being said, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for future content. And yeah, let me know what your comments are below. I'm interested to hear what you think. And as always, until next time, good hunting.